If Göbekli Tepe hadn't been found, none of this would have happened. It led to a widespread interest in the whole area, the world's oldest known megalithic stairway.
In 1963, a large-scale survey took place in southeastern Turkey, covering a site called Gobekli Tepe, or Belly Hill. At the top of the hill, researchers found broken limestone slabs scattered in different directions. At the time, they assumed it was just a medieval cemetery, made a note of it, and moved on. It wasn't until 1994 that a German archaeologist named Klaus Schmidt revisited the site. Unlike those before him, he immediately saw something unique. He believed it was far more than just a burial site. Schmidt quickly realized the site was a massive Stone Age structure. As excavations began, his suspicions were confirmed, and the findings went far beyond what anyone expected. Beneath the hill's surface, researchers uncovered megaliths standing up to 18 feet tall and weighing as much as 50 tons.
There would be burials underneath the walls or underneath some of the pillars or so on, but so far they have not yet found any human remains at the site. There are no domestic plants in the site. There are only wild animal bones.
These massive stones were arranged in circular formations and covered in intricate carvings of humanoid figures, animals, and abstract symbols. Even more surprising, carbon dating showed that Gobekli Tepe was built between 9,600 and 8,200 BCE, at least 5,000 years older than Stonehenge.
And he said basically 50 times as much as they've already excavated is still under the ground, that there's hundreds and hundreds of giant stone pillars that they've identified with ground-penetrating radar.
This made it the world's oldest known megalithic site. The biggest question was, who built it? Schmidt pointed out, we're 6,000 years before the invention of writing here. As the excavation continued, more mysteries emerged. In 2014, researchers found evidence of a permanent settlement, challenging the idea that the builders were simply nomadic hunter-gatherers. Instead, it suggested an early civilization that predates all known records. Who were these people, and why weren't they part of recorded history? Research is still ongoing, but the site is so fragile that only about 5% has been excavated. With more discoveries to come, new insights into this ancient civilization may soon surface. One of the biggest debates is why they built it. Some researchers believe Gobekli Tepe served as a religious site, possibly the world's first. Schmidt even called it the first human-built holy place and a cathedral on a hill. Others suggest it may have been an ancient astronomical observatory, possibly aligned with the Sirius star. The implications of either theory are significant. However, in 2017, two scientists proposed an even more groundbreaking idea. That year, chemical engineers Martin Sweatman and Dimitrios Tsikritsis began studying Gobekli Tepe's vulture stone, one of its most intriguing pillars, covered in detailed carvings of animals, figures, and symbols. The two men believed that the vulture stone was, as Sweatman described, encoding some kind of information. After studying it closely, they thought they had figured out what that information was. They suggested that the animals carved on the pillar represented ancient constellations, a scorpion for Scorpio, a duck-like figure for Libra, a wolf for Lupus, and so on, arranged around a circular shape in the center, which symbolized the sun. Sweatman and Tsikritsis believed this meant the vulture stone was marking a specific date in history. The carvings, in their view, recorded a time when the constellations matched the arrangement shown on the stone. But what was this event? They believed the stone had an answer. Near the top of the pillar, a series of square symbols with lines extending downward, they argued, represented comet fragments falling to Earth. Meanwhile, the headless man in the bottom right corner symbolized the destruction and loss of life caused by the impact. In their article published in Mediterranean Archaeology and Archaeometry, they proposed that the Vulture Stone was a memorial to this catastrophic event, possibly the worst disaster in human history since the Ice Age ended. To support their theory, they used computer software to determine when the constellations would have matched the arrangement on the stone. Their calculations pointed to 3 possible dates: 4,350 BCE, 10,950 BCE, and 18,000 BCE. The key detail was that 10,950 BCE aligned perfectly with the Younger Dryas event. The Younger Dryas was a 1,300-year period, lasting from roughly 12,900 to 11,600 years ago, during which the Earth experienced a sudden global cooling that triggered Ice Age-like conditions. Geological and archaeological records show that this period was marked by massive destruction worldwide: super tsunamis, catastrophic flooding, and wildfires so severe they filled the sky with enough ash to block out the sun. It was also a time of widespread animal extinctions, reshaping life on Earth. While the Younger Dryas event is well documented, scientists have never been entirely sure about what caused it. One of the most discussed hypotheses is that a comet exploded in Earth's atmosphere, scattering fragments across the planet. The largest pieces are believed to have crashed into the ice caps that covered North America at the time, instantly vaporizing them and disrupting the Earth's ecosystem. According to Sweatman and Socrates, the Vulture Stone at Göbekli Tepe aligns with the constellations exactly as they would have appeared during the Younger Dryas event. They argue that this carving is a record of the event and that it specifically depicts a comet impact. As Sweatman stated in an interview, "I think this research, along with the recent finding of a widespread platinum anomaly across the North American continent, virtually seals the case in favor of a Younger Dryas comet impact." Could this really be the case? Was the Younger Dryas event truly caused by a comet? And is it possible that the Vulture Stone at Göbekli Tepe is an ancient record of this catastrophe, left behind by a forgotten civilization? If so, how does this connect to the underground cities near Göbekli Tepe and across Turkey? The key may be that Göbekli Tepe is not the only place in the region where evidence of the Younger Dryas event might exist. Recently, excavation efforts have slowed down, and trees have been planted over certain areas, which has raised questions. Officially, archaeologists argue that digging up too much at once can be destructive, and future technology might provide better ways to study the site. However, some believe there may be other reasons for delaying excavation. Graham Hancock, a well-known researcher, points out that Göbekli Tepe still has many unexcavated stone circles buried underground. He finds it suspicious that excavation has mostly stopped. Some speculate that new discoveries could challenge mainstream historical narratives. Similar situations have happened before. Scientists who propose controversial theories about ancient civilizations or cataclysms, like the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, often face strong opposition. Another possibility is that some archaeologists might not want to confront evidence suggesting human civilization is much older than previously thought. Nearby sites like Karahan Tepe share similar structures, and some experts now call this the T-shaped stone civilization, which may have extended as far as Jericho. If Göbekli Tepe reveals even older structures, it could force a major rewrite of history. Zoroastrianism is one of the world's oldest organized religions, an ancient Iranian belief system founded on the teachings of the prophet Zoroaster. Its origins are so distant that historians still debate its exact age. The religion first appears in written records in the 6th century BCE, but its roots likely date back at least to the 2nd millennium BCE. Even then, it almost certainly built upon much older oral traditions. Regardless of its exact age, Zoroastrianism was the first religion to codify ideas such as heaven and hell, judgment after death, messianism, angels and demons, and the eternal struggle between good and evil. It is well established that Zoroastrianism influenced Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, and Hinduism, as well as Greek philosophy. In fact, many core stories in these traditions are retellings of earlier Zoroastrian myths. For instance, the biblical account of Noah's Ark closely mirrors the Zoroastrian tale of Yima from the Vendidad, a foundational text of Zoroastrianism. A man named Yima is warned of an approaching catastrophe that will wipe out both humans and animals on Earth. Unlike the flood in Noah's story, Yima's disaster is a deep freeze. The text states, "O Yima, towards the sacred land will rush evil as a severe, fatal winter. Evil will rush as thick snowflakes falling in increased depth." Instead of constructing an ark, Yima is instructed to build an underground, multi-level settlement, a self-sustaining city with water and plants, where he must bring 2,000 human couples, along with every kind of animal. Like Noah waiting out the flood, Yima is to remain underground until the deep freeze has passed, wiping out the rest of the Earth's inhabitants. The story concludes with Yima's people emerging from this subterranean city after many generations, having survived the deadly winter, and repopulating the Earth. This raises a straightforward question. Does this not resemble a group surviving the 1,300-year-long deep freeze of the Younger Dryas? Take a moment to step back and connect the pieces. Zoroastrianism originates from Iran, a country that shares a border with Turkey. Since the religion's earliest written texts were almost certainly derived from much older oral traditions, it is very possible that they preserve the histories and stories of both Iran and Turkey. Could it be, then, that the underground cities scattered across Turkey were originally built as shelters to withstand the extreme conditions of the Younger Dryas, just as described in the ancient Zoroastrian Vendidad text? And if that is the case, then perhaps, after surviving the deep freeze, humans returned to the surface and commemorated their survival at Gobekli Tepe, possibly even recording the exact date of the event through a specific astronomical alignment carved into the vulture stone. Consider what this could imply. Evidence of an advanced ancient civilization existing before the Younger Dryas event, over 12,000 years ago, long before any civilization recorded in our history books today. Finding such proof would completely upend the scientific community and reshape our understanding of human civilization, where we came from, and how we evolved. It's possible that clues to this hidden history still lie buried beneath the ground in Turkey, waiting to be uncovered by a farmer or a construction project, waiting to rewrite history as we know it. However, in one of our previous videos, where we covered the mysterious Gunung Padang Pyramid in Indonesia, we showed that Turkey isn't the only place where pre-Younger Dryas civilizations may have thrived, so be sure to check it out. Regardless of what future discoveries bring, one thing is already clear. The timeline of human civilization stretches back further than mainstream science has long claimed. When skeptics dismiss the Yonaguni Monument or Gunung Padang as evidence of an ancient lost civilization simply because they assume human civilization didn't exist that far back, Gobekli Tepe proves that they have no real idea how deep our history truly goes. With that in mind, the real question isn't whether a civilization could have existed in the distant past, but rather, if they did, who were they, and what happened to them? The implications of Gobekli Tepe and the Younger Dryas comet impact theory stretch far beyond just rewriting human history. They raise fundamental questions about the lost civilizations that may have once thrived, only to be wiped out by cataclysmic events. If the vulture stone is indeed a record of this disaster, then what other remnants of this forgotten world might still be waiting to be uncovered? For centuries, mainstream archaeology has maintained that human civilization began around 3000 BCE with the rise of Mesopotamian city-states. The discovery of Gobekli Tepe alone has shattered that timeline, proving that organized societies capable of advanced construction and astronomical observations existed over 12,000 years ago. But if they were sophisticated enough to build monuments and track celestial events, what else might they have achieved? One of the most intriguing pieces of evidence for a lost civilization's survival strategy comes in the form of Turkey's vast underground cities. Derinkuyu, the largest of these subterranean complexes, extends multiple levels deep and could house an estimated 20,000 people along with livestock and food supplies. The engineering required to construct such an elaborate underground refuge suggests a level of organization and foresight that contradicts the image of primitive hunter-gatherers. Archaeologists estimate that Derinkuyu was built around 800 BCE, but some researchers argue that parts of it could be far older, possibly even dating back to the Younger Dryas period. If so, this would mean that the underground cities were not simply refuges from invading armies, as traditionally believed, but from a far greater threat, an apocalyptic event like the Younger Dryas comet impact. The Vendidad text from Zoroastrianism describes the construction of underground shelters to survive a deadly freeze. If the deep freeze referenced in the Vendidad is actually the Younger Dryas cooling event, then the underground cities of Turkey could be physical evidence of this ancient survival strategy. Could the people of Gobekli Tepe have been among those who took refuge in these subterranean shelters? If so, their descendants may have emerged thousands of years later, bringing with them the knowledge and traditions of a long-lost civilization. Traditions that could have influenced later cultures like the Sumerians, Egyptians, and early Indo-European societies. The idea of a lost civilization that predated known history is not new, but Gobekli Tepe provides tangible evidence to support it. This raises another question. If such an advanced society existed before the Younger Dryas, where else might their influence be seen? One possibility is Egypt. The Great Sphinx of Giza has long been suspected of being far older than mainstream archaeology admits. The weathering patterns on the Sphinx's body appear to be the result of heavy rainfall, which would place its construction before the end of the last ice age, coinciding with the same time frame as Gobekli Tepe. Could the Sphinx and other megalithic structures in Egypt be remnants of this lost civilization's knowledge? Similarly, the ancient city of Tiahuanaco in Bolivia, home to the mysterious ruins of Pumapunku, has been dated to around 500 AD, but many researchers believe its origins go back much further. Some of the stone blocks at Pumapunku weigh over 100 tons and were carved with an incredible level of precision. The civilization responsible for this construction remains unknown, but some theories suggest it could have been the descendants of a pre-Younger Dryas society. If the builders of Gobekli Tepe were skilled enough to track celestial alignments and record cosmic events, it is possible that astronomy played a crucial role in their culture. The alignment of the vulture stone with the position of the stars at the time of the Younger Dryas suggests that they not only recorded past events, but may have also used the sky as a guide for predicting future catastrophes. Many ancient civilizations, including the Maya, Egyptians, and Mesopotamians, placed great emphasis on astronomy. The Maya, for example, tracked planetary movements with extreme precision, and their long count calendar seems to be based on cycles that stretch back far earlier than their own civilization. Could this astronomical knowledge have originated with a pre-Younger Dryas society that passed it down over generations? Similarly, Ancient Hindu texts describe vast cycles of destruction and rebirth, with catastrophic events reshaping the Earth every few thousand years. These myths bear a striking resemblance to what we now understand about global climate shifts and cosmic impacts. Could these stories be distant memories of real events, preserved in oral traditions for thousands of years? One of the greatest mysteries surrounding Gobekli Tepe is why it was deliberately buried around 8000 BCE. The sheer scale of the effort required to cover the entire complex with dirt suggests it was done purposefully and systematically. But why would an ancient civilization go to such lengths to bury their own monument? One theory is that the builders of Gobekli Tepe, or their descendants, knew another disaster was coming. If they had experienced the Younger Dryas impact, they may have feared another cosmic event and buried the site to protect its knowledge for future generations. Another possibility is that Gobekli Tepe was buried as part of a ritual or cultural transition. As civilizations evolve, older religious or ceremonial sites are sometimes abandoned or intentionally hidden. If a new belief system emerged, those in power may have sought to erase the past. Whatever the reason, the deliberate burial of Gobekli Tepe preserved it remarkably well, allowing modern researchers to uncover its secrets thousands of years later. If Gobekli Tepe and other ancient sites are evidence of an advanced civilization that existed before the Younger Dryas, then our understanding of human history needs to be radically revised. It would mean that civilization did not start with Sumer and Mesopotamia, but had roots stretching back at least 12,000 years, possibly even longer. This would also suggest that humanity has experienced multiple cycles of growth and destruction, with each cycle erasing much of the previous one's achievements. The lost civilization of the Younger Dryas era may have been just one of many that came before, each wiped out by cataclysms that reset human progress. If this is true, then what other evidence might still be waiting to be discovered? Could more ancient cities lie buried beneath the sands of Egypt, the jungles of the Amazon, or the depths of the ocean? Some researchers believe that submerged structures like those off the coast of Japan's Yonaguni Monument or India's Gulf of Khambhat may be remnants of such lost civilizations. As technology advances, new methods like ground-penetrating radar and satellite imaging are revealing more about our ancient past than ever before. In recent years, researchers have uncovered evidence of previously unknown settlements and structures buried beneath the earth, suggesting that our history is far more complex than we once thought. Archaeologists and independent researchers alike continue to explore sites like Gobekli Tepe, Derinkuyu, and other mysterious locations in search of answers. But mainstream academia remains skeptical, often resisting theories that challenge long-held beliefs. The truth, however, may be impossible to suppress forever. With each new discovery, the case for a lost pre-Younger Dryas civilization grows stronger. If we can piece together the fragments of our forgotten past, we may finally uncover the true origins of human civilization, one that existed long before history as we know it. The story of Gobekli Tepe and the Younger Dryas comet impact is not just about rewriting history. It is about recognizing the resilience and intelligence of ancient people. If they could survive such catastrophic events, preserve knowledge, and rebuild civilization, then their legacy deserves to be acknowledged. So what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below and subscribe for more content like this.